Hello, everybody. Welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Friday. Today, I want to talk a little bit about baggage. You know, that baggage we all carry around and we don't know how to get rid of, and we probably should. Well, I'd like to direct your attention to this picture. There's 4 pictures actually, just above my left shoulder here. Somebody highlighted that and mentioned and asked me in a comment last week if those were in Scotland. That is the ruins of St. Anthony's Chapel. If you've ever been to Edinburgh and you go up, if you go up Arthur's Seat, which is kind of like a mountain, it's a long way up that I did not do, but my sister did. She found that on the way up, if you instead of going up Arthur's Seat, if you veer off to the left and go over some stones and some ways that if you are not a great walker, it's difficult. But those who are physically fit and like to walk can easily get there. For me, it was a little bit more of an effort. But that place is this beautiful, beautiful spot that had an ancient chapel. I believe it was a monastery, St. Anthony's Chapel. And there are the ruins. And it looks over this beautiful, I think it's Holyrood, which is a castle that the Queen's family stays at. There's at the top of at the top of the Royal Mile in Edinburgh is Edinburgh Castle. At the bottom of the Royal Mile, I believe it's called Holyrood. I'm probably wrong, but I think that's what it's called, which is where the royal family would stay. And within the walls, within the property of that, is a beautiful, beautiful green space. When you're when you're at the ruins of St. Anthony's Chapel, you can see down into that green space, and it's absolutely so peaceful looking. But St. Anthony's Chapel has the wall and part of another wall of the ruins. And my sister and I went up there at dusk one evening, the last night that we were in Edinburgh for a week with our dad, in 2017. And we went up there. She went up Arthur's Seat the first day we were in Edinburgh, the Saturday before. And this was on, I think we flew back on Friday. So this would be Thursday night. We were there again. And she took me up to St. Anthony's Chapel, and we both were carrying backpacks. And by the end of the day, our backpacks were also had been joined by many, many bags, because we had purchased souvenirs and were carrying them with us everywhere on our travels. So we climbed up the hill and went to St. Anthony's Chapel. And she was off, poking around. She's a geography teacher, so she loves rocks and things like that, and the climate and the environment thing. So she was doing her inquisitive teacher thing, and I was doing my more contemplative priest thing. And I was praying, and I was sitting in one of the window seats. It's a window that I sat in as I prayed and had lots of things on my mind. And at some point, I realized I was carrying this backpack, which was extremely heavy, because my souvenirs tend to look like books, because they get kind of heavy. And it was really weighing me down. So I went and put my baggage off to the side. And all of a sudden, it occurred to me that this is a place to let go of your baggage. And, okay, yeah, I'm going to put my stuff down out of the way. I made sure that my baggage, my backpack and all my souvenir bags were all out of the way, because my sister was taking pictures. I didn't want her to get those in the pictures. And realizing I was tucking my baggage out of view, I went back to pray. And all of a sudden, it was like the Holy Spirit hit me with one of those old relic, those old ruined rocks up the backside of my head. My mom likes NCIS, so she called it a Gibbs smack. Up the back of my head with, let your baggage go. Put your baggage down someplace where you can't see it, so that it's not dragging you down, and just be. And I realized that my whole week in Edinburgh, or in Scotland, because we went lots of places, not just Edinburgh, I've been dragging a lot of baggage around with me. Things I was worried about, and people I was concerned about, and situations that were happening in my life, and what about this, and what about that? And it really, although I had a great time, and we explored things, and I laughed, and I never slept. My sister lives in Ontario, and I was living in Nova Scotia. So we spent basically every night staying up like to all hours of the night, talking and walking and just being. But I carried a lot of baggage around with me. And that night, sitting there in St. Anthony's Chapel, in a place that was so ancient, so many, probably thousands or maybe even millions of prayers had been offered. So many sunsets and sunrises had been seen. there was history. There was probably battle had been seen near there too, weddings and baptisms and people searching for souls and people who felt like their souls were being ripped apart. All of that having happened in that place, I began to realize how important it is that we drop our baggage, that we let go of those things that are pulling us down. If it is baggage, if it's something that we've tucked away in our backpack or in our purse or in a suitcase that we're lugging around with us, it's not essential to who we are. Those things that are essential to who we are the things we carry around in our minds and in our hearts and our souls. They're the people that we love, that we join up with, but the things that we tuck away mean we don't need them all the time, and we can let them go. Sometimes we need to put the baggage down, and we find we need to pick it back up. But for a while, we need to let the baggage go. And St. Anthony's Chapel was this beautiful place where I recognized that I was carrying around way too much stuff. Stuff that God had been telling me for a long time, let it go. Little brat, let it go. Let it go. And that night, not only did my relationship with my sister that week become something I never expected it could become, and that was such an incredible blessing to me. Not only that, and not only did I get to explore a beautiful country. I'd been there once before with my husband Rob, but we just saw Edinburgh and a few other sites on bus tours. This time we took a car and we saw places we wouldn't see, including long-lost relatives. But I found a part of my soul that had been so cluttered and weighed down with baggage that I'd forgotten it even existed. And since then, I have had lots of times when I have packed stuff on top of myself and loaded up that baggage. But lots of times too, I've been reminded that it's not essential baggage, to let it go. Let myself, who I am when God looks at me, let that come bubbling back up to the top, and that start working from that place rather than that place where I let other people tell me who I am. The baggage of other people's expectations, the baggage of my own expectations of who I should be, who I could be, but who I'm not. All of that crap that I allow myself to get covered with, to shake it off and to leave it back there at St. Anthony's Chapel or wherever it is I am, and just to be present. Following up on that, knowing that I learned that big lesson to let the baggage go, to set it aside. Coming back then from Edinburgh, going back to Halifax, we flew from Edinburgh to Ontario, to Toronto, and then I had to fly from Toronto to Halifax, and I was petrified because I didn't have a great time. Going to Edinburgh, I got up, my plane was delayed in Halifax. I was supposed to meet my dad and my sister in Toronto and get on a plane with them. My plane from Halifax was delayed by an hour and a half, and when I got to Toronto, my plane was just running off the runway. It was going away without me, and my dad and my sister were on that plane, and I had to run and get another plane, which took me not to Edinburgh, but to Heathrow in London, London, England, and then spent the day there, and then finally got a plane to Edinburgh, where I then finally got to the hotel 12 hours or more after my family did, and worrying about where my baggage was. So the whole week was like a baggage thing. But then flying back, I was so tired and I was worried because my flights were so close together. Would my baggage make it to Halifax? And then realizing, because I was on my way home, what if it doesn't? It's not going to be gone forever. So souvenirs don't get given to family members and friends until my baggage catches up with me. I have clothing at home in my house. I don't need all that stuff. I've got my ID, I have my passport, I have my wallet, I have my iPad so I could watch a movie on the plane, on my carry-on, no big deal. But this idea that the baggage that we have, some of it we need to keep. Some of it might catch up with us. Some of it we can let go, even if it gets lost or stolen, or we choose to leave it behind. It's just baggage. And it really helped me to start thinking in terms of what is essential to who I am. What is essential to my life? What is the most important thing? My husband. My husband is not baggage. He is the most important person in my life. If I didn't have Rob, that would hurt. That would be hard to live without. So that's something I need to hold on to. My relationship with God, with Jesus and the Holy Spirit, that's something that's essential to who I am. It helps me to know who I am and who I'm called to be. Those things I need. A roof over my head. It doesn't have to be a great roof. It's nice if it is, but that's something that I need. But the pictures, the books on my bookshelf, the stuff that I still can't find after we've moved, those aren't essential. That's baggage that could be left behind. Would it make life easier if I had it? Maybe. Is life, is life going to stop if I can't find it? Absolutely not. Because what I need, I have. What would be nice to have, mostly I have, but if I don't have it, no big deal. Some baggage, like the lesson I learned at St. Anthony's Chapel, some baggage can be left behind. And if it's important, I can go and pick it up when I've got the strength to pick it up. And by then, maybe I can purge some of it and not bring it all with me. But that night, at sunset, that Thursday night, watching the sun go down from a little bit of the way up Arthur's Seat, thinking about the men and women who had prayed there, who had fought there, who had lived there, who had experiences of great peace and joy and sorrow and fear, helped me to recognize that all that I am, all of who I am, is what is really necessary. The rest of it is nice to have or nice not to have. Figure that out. But it helped me to recognize that every step of the way, every step along my journey, I need to check myself and say, is the baggage that you're carrying helping you? Are you carrying the tools you need to do what you're called to do? Or is the baggage you're carrying with you holding you back? Is it dragging you down? Is it making you tired? Every once in a while, we just need to take stock of what baggage we're carrying and see if maybe we need to shed some of it for a little while or maybe forever. Either way, taking stock and seeing what baggage we're carrying might help us to be able to take the next step, to make the next decision, to do what we're called to do. So, as you head into your weekend, what baggage are you carrying? Do you need to leave some on Friday night at the door and pick it up on Monday morning? Or do you maybe need to put it out at the curb and let the garbage guys pick it up when they go by? Either way, just know that if you can't let go of baggage today, you can still do it tomorrow. And whatever you do let go of, you won't need. You won't need. You'll find more things to pick up along the way. So, as you sort through your baggage, have a great weekend. And let me know where your St. Anthony's Chapel is. What places have you been where you've had those aha moments, eureka, when you realize that maybe life isn't quite the way you thought it was, and that's a good thing. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Sunday if you choose to join me for our mini worship, or Monday morning for Church at Home with Rachel. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend.